Hello, everybody. Hey, we're back with basically my wrap up, kind of about the book and about the case in general. Shaun kind of hits it on the head with his key factors that he keyed on, which he called strategies. With particularly the eliciting emotional reactions or triggering emotional reactions, huge, especially when you're doing it with the jury. Hiring, getting the public defenders to work for you. I mean, Lenk. You think about how much he did for Kratz, to help Kratz with his case and on Stephen and Brendan. And, and you go, it just goes on and on, really, when you think about it. Because you got Kratz, who does the pretrial press conference, where he tells people that if they have children under 13, they need to leave the room, and goes through what he goes through. But there's really no evidence to back that up. Virtually none of it. And what evidence there is to back up any of it, it didn't come out of Brendan naturally. And when I say that, I mean the bullet. The bullet did not happen naturally. He first said that they shot her over by the burn pit. It was only when they came back to interview him again that they said, "Oh, come on, Brendan, tell us the truth. We know that there's something over by the garage. We know there's something with the garage, Brendan. Tell us what it is," or whatever. And yeah. So that's when he suddenly moves the shooting to the garage. So it's so much of it's suspect. And particularly the part where you would think that, come on, Brendan, something with the head, something with the head. If Brendan was there and he knew what happened to Teresa's head, how would he have not guessed shooting her? How would he have guessed all these other things that he guessed and not guessed shooting her? That was their one thing that would have really proved their case. That really would have made it like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is a proper confession. But they blew that too. Just and the way that they did everything else, it makes it all highly suspect. And way I feel, way a lot of people feel. So yeah, there's just a lot of things with this case. There's the key, the way the key was found. Hey, I've done a video that I feel it's pretty much impossible that this key fell out the way that Colburn suggests. There's nowhere this key could have hidden the way that they're suggesting. It's ridiculous. So I did a little video experiment about it. So things like that. Things like the blood. It's just weird to me. If you look at the pictures of the blood in the RAV4, some of it looks like smudge, but some of it actually looks like it was dripping. You can actually see where it dripped, and when it dripped, it hit like the smooth surface, and it actually ran for a small amount, and you can see where the drop, kind of the bulbous part of the dry blood is, where the drip was kind of running down. So it was dripping. This blood was dripping from him on the one side of the RAV4, but yet it was not anywhere except that tiny little squiggle by the ignition. Now, think about this. Why is there so much blood over on the passenger side, but he didn't leave anything over by the driver's side? And like I said, it was actually dripping from him. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough where it looked like a drip and a little bit of a run, and then it dried. So why is there nothing over on the other side? And think about this too. He would have had to have shifted the car out of park and reverse and drive and everything, right? With that hand that had the cut, right? That was leaving drips on the other side. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. But that's my issue with the blood, and don't even get me started on the fact that there is no actual murder scene anywhere. Where did this all take place? And don't tell me that Stephen Avery is the greatest forensic cleaner-upper that ever lived. I ain't buying that either. So it's enough stuff to make you wonder what happened here. It's enough stuff that doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't line up. It doesn't wash. None of this stuff, hardly any of this stuff. It doesn't create a really congruous story that works, because it's so fishy and suspicious. And the coercion of Brendan doesn't help anything, because he's just being fact-fed or bullied or, toyed with. I mean, it's sad what happens to him. And it's, my heart really goes out to Brendan. So when you look at all these things, and then you take the fact of what Manitowoc did to Stephen Avery in the Penny Berenson case, clear and obvious proof. They knew who did it. They didn't care. They wanted Stephen. They were getting him out of their way, and they were happy to let the actual culprit run free so that he could commit yet another crime against somebody. So, I mean, you add up all these things. How can you say with any kind of real faith that you think these guys couldn't have done it again? I mean, I don't know how anybody could really say that. I certainly can't. So, they've really made mistakes. They've made a lot of mistakes. And whether they're mistakes or whether they were trying to cover their butt, well, we'll find out in time. So, anyways, that's about it. That's my final thoughts on Shaun Attwood's UnMaking the Murderer. And, if you haven't already, everybody, please hit subscribe. We'll see ya.